This video is not clickbait. For numerous wipes in Escape from Tarkov, the Slick and the Hexcrit armors have been viewed as best in slot, and they used to be. However, due to recent updates, that is no longer the case, actually. There are quite a few armors that'll save your life way more frequently than the Slick and the Hexcrit. Now, it sounds weird, but hear me out. We're going to break down all of the changes that actually made these armors less viable, and I'll talk about what are the more viable armors to be wearing this wipe. And then, if you enjoyed the video, boys, consider hitting that sub button. I believe 85% of my viewers are not actually subs. That helped me out a lot, and we are live every day on Twitch. Come say hi. The link in the description. But, guys, let's jump right in, and I hope you enjoy. So, I'm sure you're wondering if I'm claiming this video is not clickbait and my title is Slick Armor is Awful. Well, what gives? Why is Slick Armor awful? Well, the armors themselves are exactly the same as they were a year ago. You can see Slick is still level 6 and it still covers my thorax. And the Hex Grid is still the same thing. It's level 6 and it covers my thorax. Now, if they're the same, but they're worse, how does that make sense? Well, the way that damage is calculated has actually changed drastically. For almost 4 years, black limb damage was actually bugged. So when you got shot in an extremity that was destroyed, which is a black limb like an arm or a stomach or leg that's destroyed, the damage actually was not fully dealt to your character. There was a lot of damage lost when you get shot, which meant that covering these additional body parts was not important at all. And like we said, Slick and Hexgrid only cover your thorax, right? Well, this was fixed in patch 12.11, which means a lot more damage is dealt to my character, and I mean a lot. So being shot in things like the stomach will kill you ridiculously quick, and these low-tier flesh damage rounds, like M855 or Match FMJ, can destroy your character in the stomach, and it's almost like, why even wear a class 6 armor if I'm going to die to a level 2 Timmy that can shoot me 3 or 4 times to kill me? Like, Match FMJ can 4-shot your stomach. M80 can 3-shot your stomach. 762 PS, the round from Prapor level 1, costs 90 rubles a piece, kills me in 5 bullets to the stomach. Why even wear armor at that point, right? So there are a lot better choices. We're going to go into all the nerd stuff about why stomach armor matters and what actually did change at the update so you can understand all the little nerd stuff. If you don't want to watch that, you can skip ahead to the next section. But we're going to also talk about what the important armors are and why I think you should stop wearing Slick in most of your raids. Let's jump into the next section, guys. So really quick, we're going to be explaining how black limb damage used to work, how it works now, and then I have some test footage showing you how fast I died at some of these crazy rounds in the stomach with this new black limb change. Credit to Veritas for making the video about how this damage used to work a long time ago. I forget how long ago it was, but I watched it. I learned from it back then. I'm using it as a source now. Link in the description for that if you want to check it out. Credit to him again, and thank you for putting that out there. And for this example, we're going to be using M995. So M995 has a flesh damage of 40, and this is going to be our basic number that we use for calculation. So every time we're looking at damage, it'll always start at 40 for the bullet damage. Now, every single non-vital body part, like an arm, the leg, or the stomach, these have their own multipliers when they are black. It's called black limb multipliers. So pretty much when you shoot them, the damage is either gained, lost, or it stays the same depending on which body part you hit. And these only apply when that body part is destroyed and you shoot that body part when it's destroyed. So, for example, the arm has a 0.7 multiplier, so when you shoot the arm, when it's blacked, you lose damage on the bullet. When you shoot the stomach when it's blacked, you get a 1.5 times multiplier, so damage is actually gained, which is again why I talk about stomach armor being so important in the beginning of the video. Lastly, legs have a 1.0 multiplier, so damage is neither gained nor lost when they are shot. Multipliers are very simple, and they are one of the main pillars of how black limb damage works. Now, the next one is what I call overflow. And overflow is pretty much any raw damage that is left over after you hit a black limb. So, for example, if I had a 40 damage bullet and I shot a 0 health arm, there would be 40 raw damage overflow. And that could even happen if I shot a 5 health arm with a 40 damage bullet. There would be 35 raw damage left over. Now, this raw damage is then multiplied by the multiplier. So 40 raw damage times a 0.7 multiplier for the arm would equal a 28 damage that is spread to the rest of my body. So this refers to distribution, which is dealing damage to all of the healthy limbs when you get shot in a blacked limb. So every single limb of your body makes up a percentage of your health pool. So for example, the head is 8%, the thorax is 19%, Each arm is worth about 14%, and the stomach 16%, and legs being about 15% for about 100% of your health pool. So any of that overflow damage we talked about, so the 28 that was left over if we got shot in the arm, would be dealt, each percentage of that would be dealt to the rest of the body based on the percent of your health pool it makes. So 8% of that damage would be dealt to your head, resulting in 2.24 damage hitting your head every single time you got shot in the arm by M995, which would take 16 bullets to kill you, making you an absolute tank with your 35 health head. So this is not how it works anymore. It's how it used to work, and it's why you used to tank so many bullets to make 70s. So the big problem with this whole system is damage used to actually be lost. So if you had more than one black limb, when you got shot in a black limb, damage was actually skipped to any other black limb that you currently had. So, for example, if I got shot in the arm and I had 2 black arms and a black stomach, it would skip damage to my stomach and it would skip damage to the other black arm, which meant that these zones damage was just being lost instead of being applied to the rest of my body. Because really, what happens is if I'm missing all these body parts, my head, my thorax, and my 2 legs should make up a bigger percentage of my health pool, so they should take more damage off being shot, which is exactly what the update did. It took into account when you have black limbs that your body parts take more account into your percentage of health pool. So, for example, in this scenario, my head would be 14% of my total health pool because I am missing 2 arms and a stomach, and the game now keeps track of that. There is still some damage loss that we're not going to get into. It's just too nerdy and nitty-gritty. But pretty much this is exactly how it's supposed to work. So when you're missing more black limbs, you take more damage and you die faster, which is the TLDR. I recorded some footage with my friend Yemen showing you how insane the stomach damage actually can be, because again, when you get shot in the stomach, the damage is amplified by 1.5 times. In this example, we're going to be using match FMJ and a UMP for a popular ammo being shot in the stomach, and I die very, very quickly here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. I'm pretty much dead, and the 5th bullet will actually finish me off. I die really, really fast. Now, the exact same thing, we're using match FMJ and a UMP, but this time I have stomach armor. I am wearing a gazelle. Now, when I get shot here, watch how much longer I survive. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 bullets to kill me versus that 4/5. A huge difference. Now here, we have 7.62 PS, very common round early game. You can get it from level 1 Prapper, and I'm going to be getting shot in the stomach with no stomach armor. Now watch how fast I die here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm pretty much dead, and the 6th bullet finishes me off, and if bullets were to fragment, I would die even faster. Now, same ammo, 7.62 PS, versus my Gazelle stomach armor. Watch how much longer I live. It's very similar to the match FMJ. So, every time I flinch, again, I'm being shot, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I tank literally double the shots as I did with no stomach armor. Here we are using some of the worst buckshot in the game. We are using the 7mm buckshot, not even Magnum, so it's lower flesh damage, and we're wearing a slick armor, so we have no sniper protection at all. Now I'm going to back up just to get an idea of, even at range, how fast I can die to just bad buckshot. So I lose an arm, and I lose pretty much the big chunk of my stomach to that first shot, but watch what happens now. I get shot in my stomach, and I'm quite literally almost dead. I have lost my arms and my stomach just to those couple shots from that far away. And imagine fighting a shotgun guy that close on like Factory or any other map when you have to deal with not having stomach armor. It's just crazy. You need it. So the question remains, what armor should we wear? There are a ton of options, and like you saw in the testing, stomach armor is extremely important after that black limb damage update. Now, OnePeg recently made a video on the effectiveness of armor and what is like the best bang for your buck armor. And I don't want to say he's wrong, but he tests how good the armor is when you're shooting it. And I'm focusing more on what armors are going to actually save me in practice, because He talks about trooper armor being really, really good, and trooper armor is good for covering your thorax, but it doesn't cover your stomach, so it kind of loses all validity to me because I don't want to die to 2 bullets in my stomach. It really doesn't feel good at all. So for me, slicks are pretty much out of the question unless I'm going to labs, because on labs, most people aren't using bad ammo, so this will save my life on labs, and later in the wipe, this armor will become a lot more valid as, like, the only real way to counter BP ammo when people are more in the late game stage of the game. So the most common armor for me is going to be the Gazelle K armor. Now, the reason for this being it is super cheap, super available. It is class 5, covers both my stomach and my thorax, low penalties for both turning speed and ergo, and movement speed as well. And if you go to Ragman, look at how many I can get per reset. From Ragman, I can get 2 gazelles, and then I can barter for 3 more. So I can get 5 gazelles per reset, super available. Now, if I could, I would wear the 6B 13M, the Killa armor, every single raid, but I can't because this armor is not flea marketable. So I'll wear it if I have it, but other than that, it's not the most important thing. The material makes it repair super well, and it loses very little durability when it gets shot. That is very nice compared to the Gazelle. And the Defender is also a nice option as well that I do enjoy wearing if I get it, but you're only getting it off cultists and the Sinatar bodyguards. Now, all of this armor has the giant flaw of you lose to BP ammo like you have no armor. But again, I am wearing my armor to survive versus players with bad gear, because even if someone has a mutant or an AKM with BP, I'm going to get headshot one-tapped most of the time anyway, so my armor is there to save me versus people that are using worse tier gear. Now, if you want to go for a more budget approach, there are some armors from Ragman that are class 4, like the 6B3TM. This is 50k armored rig. It'll cover your stomach and your thorax. It has a lot of penalties for wearing it, but it's pretty cheap, and it's Titan, so it repairs okay. The Strandhog is a new rig, which is aluminum. It repairs okay, and the armored areas, again, are stomach and thorax. This is less penalties than wearing the 6B3TM, and the most popular option I see right now is the MMAC rig. Now, the problem with this MMAC rig is the same problem as the other stuff we're talking about, which is it does not cover my stomach. So you can wear this if you want to, but for the extra little bit of money, I would rather wear the Strandhog and have my stomach protected versus those shotgun and pistol and, I don't know, PS ammo guys. Just save my life. It's so nice to have your life saved by these things, and you'll start to notice when you realize how much your stomach gets blown out from not wearing stomach armor, how important this stuff actually is. These are relatively cheap. These barters are super, super easy to do. And my go-to armor, like the entire wipe, is going to be Gazelle. Now, an honorable mention is going to be the Zuk 6. The Zuk 6 is a green class 6 ceramic armor that is pretty much unobtainable unless you find it in raid. It used to be a barter from Ragman. It is absolutely gone. They nuked it out the face of the planet. It's gone, but you can wear it if you want to. And the Fort armor, the 6B43, is also a viable option, but the problem being they're really expensive, and they can't get a lot per reset, and they slow you down by 35%. So if you want to wear them, they will actually save your life quite a bit, but they're kind of a meme to wear because of how much they really do take away from your ability to move. But those are your options, guys, and I go out Gazelle, but you have my reasoning for going with whatever. To wrap things up in a quick summary, Slick Armor and Hexcrit are still good, but they're not going to save you versus the things that you wish they would, because Stomach Armor is so important now due to that black limb change that we saw in patch 12.11, and Slick can be good on maps like Labs, where you're going to see a lot of high-tier weapons being used and less of that low-tier ammo, so it'll save your life a little bit more. However, later in the wipe, Slick might be better versus most players because of BP being so common. So be sure to adjust with the meta a little bit, but for the most part, especially on maps like Factory and Customs and even like Shoreline, you gotta wear Stomach Armor or you're gonna get 2-shot and it's not gonna feel good. Guys, that was the guide. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that sub button, like, comment down below if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you want to see next. If you find it helpful at all, feel free to come by the stream, say hello. We are live every day, link in description again, and I hope to see you guys around here next time. Until then, peace out, and best of luck in the raids with your new armor choices.